Hi, my name is Brendan and welcome to my channel. In our video today, we're going to be going over some of the fundamentals of Sun Salutation A, working through chaturanga, upward facing dog, downward facing dog, and forward fold. Let's begin in a tabletop position on our mats, stacking hands right underneath shoulders, hips directly on tops of knees. Now, in our tabletop position, starting from the hands, our hands are our energy conductors. We pull the energy from the earth into our hands, and then the energy begins to flow throughout the rest of the body. So it's really important that we find a really strong grip, rooting down through all 10 finger pads, pressing through the index and thumb knuckles. Now from here, we're going to begin to peel the eyes of the elbows forward. So the biceps come forward in space as the triceps wrap back. Now, as we work towards our chaturanga push-up, we slowly begin to tip the crown of the head forward in space. We maybe need to walk our knees a little bit back in space for this. Now, instead of arching through the spine, we want to scooch our tailbone underneath, really zipping up through the low belly, staying nice and active through the core. Now we find a nice long line from our tailbone all the way through the crown of the head, and as we begin to roll forwards, we start to bend the elbows, squeezing elbows in towards the sides of the body. Now we maintain that nice long line, and the gaze is just out towards the top of the mat, staying in line with the middle of the palms, and then from here we can just push ourselves back up through our tabletop position. So with chaturanga, it's really important that we keep the biceps forward, the triceps back. We have that nice long line from tailbone all the way through crown of head. And we're not arching through our spine any amount. We're nice and strong through our midsection. Now, as we take it a little bit further, we can tuck our toes and we rise into our high plank. Now, high plank, same thing. We want our hips and our shoulders to remain just about the same height. Pressing through palms, we create a little bit more space between the blades of the shoulders on the back. Now, from here, roll forwards. As we exhale, we start to lower, pausing halfway. Now we find that nice long line again, elbows squeezing in towards the sides of the body. From tailbone through crown of the head, nice long line through posterior chain. Now from here, we can just push ourselves back up, tap knees down to the earth. So that is our chaturanga. Now as we take it a little bit further, transitioning from our chaturanga to our upward facing dog. Now, through our upward facing dog, we really want to emphasize the stack of the shoulders over the wrists. We keep the eyes of the elbows peeling forwards. We're going to be pressing through the backs of our feet, lifting the knees, squeezing through the glutes, and lifting our thighs off of the earth. So, as we roll from our chaturanga push-up into our upward facing dog, we start to pull the chest through, releasing the tops of the feet down to the earth. We press through the palms. We're squeezing through the glutes to protect our low back. Our knees, our thighs are lifted off of the earth, and we start to shift our gaze slightly forwards and up. Upward facing dog. And we can tap our knees down to the earth. Come back through our tabletop position. Now, working with our downward facing dog. So, downward facing dog, our shoulders, our hands are going to be shoulder distance apart. Same thing, our energy conductors, our hands. This is really important. We find that really strong grip into the earth. Eyes of elbows peel forward. We tuck toes, send hips all the way up and back. So we're landing in our downward facing dog. Now, from hands all the way through feet. As we pull the energy from the earth through our hands, it's going to begin to try wrapping the inner lines of the forearms towards one another, peeling biceps forwards, wrapping triceps back. We're pressing our chest towards upper thighs, allowing the head and the neck to relax down in space. Our shoulders are shrugged up and away, so really not dipping, not sinking any weight through the shoulders. Now we can create a slight bend into the knees to help us lengthen through our back body and help create space through the backs of the legs to press chest back a little bit further. Now, our hips are reaching up towards the sky, and it should feel like we're plugging our femur bones through our hamstrings as we send energy through the heels, pressing our heels into the earth. Now, our heels don't, we're really trying to match towards the earth, and here is into our tabletop position, and we'll put all of those movements together for our Sun Sal A. So, beginning in a downward facing dog. As we inhale, we begin to roll the weight forwards, pausing through high plank. As we exhale, we lower halfway, chaturanga. Inhale, pull chest, roll over toes, upward facing dog, squeeze glutes, lift gaze. And now as we exhale, we can send our hips all the way up and back. Downward facing dog. Now, working with forward fold, as we inhale, we can rise high. A few steps forward, feet are gonna land behind the hands. Now, forward fold, we just allow the torso to drape over the tops of the thighs, the head, the neck, and the shoulders hang heavy in space, lengthening through the backs of the legs, just letting gravity pull you closer and closer into yourself. Now, we can think about the position of our low belly and of our ribs. The stronger we are through our core, drawing in and down, the more space we can create to really press our chest, our belly in towards the tops of the thighs. So we're literally eliminating the space between ourselves, which allows fold. Now, as we inhale to find our halfway lift, we bring palms to shins. We reach crown of the head forward in space. We're squeezing through the thighs and through the backs of the knees, and we allow the weight to come a little bit further forwards in the feet. As we reach the crown of the head forward in space, our spine is nice and long, and then we slowly plant palms back down onto the earth, stepping back through high plank. Gently roll forwards. Exhale, lower halfway, chaturanga. Inhale through upward facing dog. Exhale, hips lift all the way up and back. Downward facing dog. So with these movements, Sun Style A is going to be really common throughout any sort of Vinyasa style practice. So just coming back to the basics, the fundamentals, and properly working through these postures are really going to help us build strength towards our practice, whether that be just any sort of vinyasas or as we work towards more advanced postures, more challenging poses and transitions. So once again, my name is Brendan. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to practice with me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks.